Why do we have a CIA that gets involved in overthrow of governments, rigging elections around the world? Then we sit back and we wonder, why do they hate us? Because we're involved and we're bombing and killing people. You know, one of the big issues going on today is the issue of torture. We now have become a nation known for torturing. Pictures have been out there early on when the Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo pictures came out. We don't see them anymore. Nobody talks about them. Torture still goes on. We farm it out to other countries. But those pictures circulate around the Muslim world. And believe me, they didn't like it. What would we think if somebody was torturing American people around the world? I mean, it would infuriate us. So what do? We have the information. It came up, and they suggested maybe we ought to look into it, and this administration was supposed to do that. So they started investigating. They had some evidence, and the CIA was involved. And guess what? The CIA destroyed all the evidence. And this administration will not pursue it. They've excused them and said, that's it, we can't find the evidence. There will be no prosecution, not one single prosecution, not one challenge to people who claim that, oh no, they're not really torturing. But it was a policy. As long as torture is a policy of America, America cannot remain great. You can't have these courts acting outside the law. And this is what is happening today. And I just am very disturbed that so many people can support issues like that. And we now have a policy, frankly, it's been around for a while, but frankly admitted in our committees today that it is a clear-cut policy that the American president and the Attorney General can designate American citizens to be assassinated.
Fascism.
Now, these guys are probably the ones, say there's 3 or 4 Americans on there. Nobody here is going to be on that list, at least for a year or 2. But just the idea that they can do it. But they say, well, this is a bad guy. Yeah, it probably is a bad guy. But the law is supposed to protect the bad guys so that the good guys are never treated like a bad guy. But what they want to protect are secret prisons and the secret judicial system at the military courts, and they don't want to lose their ability to torture. Now, the reason the individual wasn't convicted on more crimes this week was because all the information came from torturing the guy. You know, and even he was probably very much involved, but he wasn't directly involved. He was indirectly involved. But they say you can't do this in a civilian court. We have to keep it secret. It has to be military because they're all guilty. Guess what? Since 9/11, we have had 400 plus individuals who have been tried and convicted in civilian court. And there have been 4 convicted in military courts. And then the clamor now is, no, we can't depend on civilian courts. We have to have military courts. Very, very bad precedent. And we must be, you know, aware of this so that we hopefully can get this stopped. You know, talking about giving sovereign immunity to our government officials, and I would remove it all, but what about giving immunity to the whistleblowers? They're the ones who need the immunity. We have a few brave souls, especially in the foreign policy area. It came up in Vietnam, it's come up more recently, Wikileaks. Information that technically, yes, they're breaking a rule, but what is the government doing? They're breaking the law. And they're doing these horrible things. So if we have an American citizen that is willing to take it, take the consequences and practice civil disobedience, say, this is what our government's doing. Should he be locked up and in prison? No. Or should we, you know, see him as a political hero? Maybe he is a true patriot who reveals what's going on in government.
For more WikiLeaks news, visit wikileaksnews.org.